What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to ask the question, is Telltale doing things wrong again? Are they falling down the same path or going down the same path that they did right before, things went pretty darn bad for them? So, why am I saying that? Well, if you watch the Game Awards, some good stuff, some not good stuff, some missing stuff, but one of the things that came from that was quite a bit of Telltale. Now, I had misheard them when they were, announcing stuff. When the Star Trek game was announced during the Game Awards, I remember them saying something about Telltale. Well, it turns out it's a group from Telltale, actually some very high-level people that worked there that formed their own studio, like a 20-plus person team. The team that left or when, Telltale was shut down, they formed their own studio and they're making Star Trek. So I was like, okay, again, I misheard. Like, I thought they were making Star Trek and Wolf Among Us. I was like, okay, fine. And actually, that's only two parts of a three-part equation, right? Because the last part was The Expanse. The Expanse is something that we saw, I believe, in the pre-show. Cindy Goodman announced it, that they're working on it. Now, this game, The Expanse, is being made from Telltale and from Deck 9, makers of Life is Strange, okay? And they're making Expanse, Amazon, saved it from Sci-Fi, and that's going to be, a series that's going to come out, or a game, a game franchise. So, it's not as bad as it could get. You know what I mean? I think it could easily get worse. What you have is Telltale working on, Wolf Among Us Season 2, and then you also have, and it's not so easy to just say, like, half and half. Like, half of Telltale is working on one, the other half is working on The Expanse, while also half of Deck 9 is working on it. It's not as easy to say, perfect percentages of these companies. So, and I guess my main thing, right, if we're talking just about Telltale, is remember what sunk them in the first place. Well, number one was a couple different games that sold horribly. Batman, actually, as much as I want Batman Season 3, I actually thought The Enemy Within was super good. I thought it was better than Season 1. That game, they even stated, that game lost so much money. That game was a financial bomb for them and really, really hurt their finances. And, you multiply that across a couple different games that they were also doing, and you have a team that goes bankrupt, which is pretty much what happened. Also, we know the main reason, too, was that they stretched themselves too thin. I mean, they had I think they had 4 or 5 different teams, maybe more, that were working on games. Like, each one was working on a game. That's insane. And when you do that, number one, you lose quality. I mean, it's just going to happen. I'm all for, studios, if they can build the size right. If you want to be like a 2-team studio, right? Like like a Naughty Dog or a 343. I mean, I'm trying to be even between consoles. But, if you want to be able to make 2 games at once, fine. That's not that bad. It's quite an undertaking. I'm not saying it's easy. But if you can do it, it's not that bad. But now if you say, well, I kind of want Sucker Punch to make 5 games at once, it's like, well, I don't think that's humanly possible. And that's what Telltale did, and it failed. It ultimately failed. So I guess what worries me here is that, you come back to life. Good. I'm happy. I'm happy Telltale is back, okay? All right, we haven't seen anything, really, but I'm glad they're back. But they're back, and the first thing they do is show Wolf Among Us Season 2. Awesome. Perfect. You pick up where you left off. Actually, not. I'm just saying, like, you picked up a franchise that you were making, and then it was canceled because you shut down. Then you restarted from scratch. All right, cool. But it's been 2 years. We last saw Wolf Among Us 2 at the Game Awards 2019. So it's been 2 full years. In fact, they even said they were going to take 2020, be completely silent. They weren't going to say a thing. Well, here we are. Another year later, all of 2021 has passed, and we've gotten absolutely nothing for the game. I wouldn't really say that's fair. I think 2 years is actually way too long to have no news at all on a game in between that time, okay? I think if you were going to do that, you would space it out. You'd have something at the 1 year mark, or you would admit that you announced the game too early, which maybe they will do. So you have that. And really that's my main problem here, right? It's not necessarily that you're now working on a second game and you're working on a second game with another team, because maybe that helps out and maybe that's not the biggest deal. Although I would argue it's still getting into old habits, bad old habits. What doomed your company the first time was you can't make one game at once. You have to make like 30, and all these games get delayed, and the quality of all of them aren't very high because, you got to rush them out the door, and you have to keep going. I mean, this is what doomed your company the first time, and some of these people that came back are the same people that were there as the walls caved in, you know what I mean? So I just don't like the combination there of working on 2 games at once, which isn't necessarily bad, especially when Deck 9 is helping, right? Another team is helping. But it's still like, okay, well, what? Next, you're going to announce a 3rd game? Like, I'm just waiting for, it's almost like I'm waiting for them to do that, like, next year or the year after. Say, oh, yeah, we got a 3rd game in development. It's like, I don't want that. But the biggest thing is when you couple that with the fact that the game that you promised us, the main game, the first game, really, in my opinion, the only game you should be making at right now. And I think that would be fine. I mean, what's the harm of Telltale coming back to life and just making The Wolf Among Us? From start to finish, that's your only game you're working on. And when that game ends, then you can start the next game. And I don't understand how radical that idea. I don't think that idea is very radical at all, but it seems like, I guess it seems to them that it is. You know what I mean? So I guess to me, the main issue is both of those things, that they're working on a 2nd game, and I'm kind of just waiting for the other shoe to drop and them to announce 30 more games they're doing. But also, you're working on another game and you announced it, but people are still waiting on your first game, the game that, you know what I mean? That'd be like it actually would exactly be like this. WB Montreal, the team behind Gotham Knights, them announcing their new game, like right now, and going forward. It's like, we can know you're working on 2 games, I guess, like through rumors and job postings, but like, I don't think, people, like, why don't you make Gotham Knights first? Why don't you and I know, behind the scenes, it's not exactly like that. It's not like they put Gotham Knights, it's not like they put The Wolf Among Us 2 aside, but like to us, it's like, well, it's been 2 years and you haven't shown us a single thing. We're kind of getting impatient, and I think rightfully so, because 2 years is a long time to go without having any information on a game that is formally announced. I think that's factual. Go look up other games. You're not going to really find examples because it doesn't really happen. So you're going to do that, and then you're going to announce a new game. It's dumb. I will be the one to say it. I think it's a bad decision. I think it's a dumb decision, and I don't like the way it's going already with Telltale, okay? And it hasn't even been all that long since they've been back. So let me know, guys, what you think in the comments below. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. If you want to follow me anywhere else, I have a Twitter, I have a 2nd channel, I have Patreon and YouTube memberships. Links for all of those are in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all on the next video.